What is up, Class 10 GSE HBEB champions? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're completely transforming your English textbook into the ultimate travel itinerary, and more importantly, your roadmap to top marks. We're tackling the chapter Glimpses of India, and I'm here to make sure you have absolutely everything you need to crush this section on your board exams. We're going to break down all those complex cultural details, highlight the high-yield vocabulary, and lock in the exact facts that examiners just love to test. So, grab your mental passports, get locked in, and let's get ready to secure those top marks. Today's roadmap? We're heading up a baker from Goa, Coorg, tea from Assam, and finishing strong with a board exam master revision.
All right, Destination 1, a baker from Goa. So, author Lucio Rodrigues is taking us on this super nostalgic trip back to traditional Goan village life. Back then, the village baker was literally the heartbeat of the community. This whole section is basically a beautiful tribute to the deep Portuguese influence on Goa. Now, if you really want to impress the examiner, you've absolutely got to master this vocabulary. First up is potter. That's the traditional term for these Goan village bakers, and you should 100% be dropping that word into your answers. Second is their traditional dress, the kabai. It's described as a peculiar, single-piece, long frock reaching down to the knees. And how did the potter let everyone know he'd arrived? Well, he made this grand musical entry with the signature zhong-zhong sound of his specially made bamboo staff. Picture this, one hand supporting his basket of bread, the other banging the bamboo on the ground. It was this iconic morning alarm that woke all the kids up. And let's be real, they weren't just running out for regular bread, they wanted those sweet bread bangles.
Now, knowing these specific cultural occasions is prime real estate for a 2 to 3 marker short answer question. Examiners constantly ask about the cultural importance of bread in Goan society, right? And you can't just say, oh, they really liked bread. No way. You need these exact details. Marriage gifts, completely meaningless without the sweet bread known as bowl. If a family was hosting a daughter's engagement, the lady of the house literally had to prepare sandwiches. It was a must. And for Christmas or other big festivals, cakes and bolinhas were a strict requirement. Memorize these specific pairings, and you've got a perfect full-mark answer locked and loaded. The text also gives us a really vivid picture of the baker's social standing. Baking in the old days wasn't just a job. It was a highly profitable profession. The baker, his family, even his servants, they never starved. Actually, the author notes that their plump physique was an open testimony to their prosperity. Even today, anyone with a jackfruit-like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. I know, it's kind of a funny phrase, right? But dropping jackfruit-like physical appearance into a character sketch question is exactly the kind of thing that shows the examiner you know this text inside and out.
Next up, Destination 2, Coorg, the coffee country.
Leaving the sunny beaches of Goa behind, author Lokesh Abral drops us into Karnataka's smallest district, right smack in the middle of Mysore and Mangalore. This gorgeous region is home to a proud race of martial men, known as the Kodavus. Now, there are a couple theories about where they actually came from, but one is tied directly to what they wear. These fiercely independent people wear a traditional long black coat with an embroidered waist belt. They call it the kufiya. What's fascinating is that it bears a striking resemblance to the kufiya worn by the Arabs and the Kurds, which heavily backs up the theory of their Arabic descent. But hey, Coorg isn't just about the history. It is literally a powerhouse of geography and biodiversity. You definitely want to keep this checklist in your mental exam toolkit, because it's the perfect foundation for any short answer fact recall. Get this, 30% of the entire district is covered in evergreen rainforests. The river Kaveri gets its water straight from these hills, and it's teeming with massive freshwater mahasir fish. Up in the tree canopies, you've got macaques, Malabar squirrels, and langurs just hanging out, keeping a watchful eye on everything. If you're a tourist, trekking up the Brahmagiri Hills gives you this insane panoramic view, eventually leading to the 64-acre island of Nisargadamu. And for the thrill seekers, it's a total hub for high-energy sports like river rafting, rappelling, and rock climbing. Okay, huge tip here. This iconic description of Coorg, calling it a piece of heaven that must have drifted from the kingdom of God, is a massive target for extract-based board questions. If you see this quote pop up on your exam paper, boom, you instantly know the context. It's Lokesh Abral's description of the rolling hills and stunning landscapes of Karnataka's smallest district. Lock this exact phrasing into your brain right now. All right, rolling right along to Destination 3, tea from Assam. We're trading the coffee air of Coorg for the vast, lush greenery of India's northeast. We're joining 2 classmates, Rajveer and Pranjol, on a train journey to the Dekiabari tea estate in Arup Kumar Datta's story, Tea from Assam. As their train pulls out and the paddy fields suddenly give way to the sea of magnificent tea bushes, Rajveer drops a seriously dramatic statistic. He tells Pranjal that over 80 crore, that's 80 million cups of tea, are drunk every single day around the world. It's a staggering number, right? And it immediately shows us that tea isn't just a morning drink, it's a global phenomenon that originates right from the gardens they're traveling to. Now, you've absolutely got to know the mythology here. Contrasting the two main tea legends that Rajveer shares is a classic 3-mark comparative board question. You have to know both. On one side, we have the Chinese legend. An emperor who always boiled his water happened to have a few leaves from burning twigs fall into his pot, giving it this amazing, delicious flavor. Then, on the flip side, you have the Indian legend featuring Bodhidharma, an ancient Buddhist ascetic. The story goes that to banish sleep during his long meditations, he actually cut off his own eyelids. I know, intense, but 10 tea plants grew out of those eyelids, and when the leaves from those plants were put in hot water, they kept people awake. Memorize both of these for sure. Eventually, they pull into the estate, and right away, Rajveer spots tractors pulling trailer loads of leaves. He immediately and proudly identifies it as the second flush or sprouting period. He even knows that it lasts from May to July and yields the absolute best tea. This is a brilliant character contrast you can use in your answers. Think about it. Rajveer is just a visitor, but he is fiercely enthusiastic and has clearly done a ton of homework. Pranjal, on the other hand, he was born and brought up on a plantation, so he has a much more casual, laid-back familiarity with the whole thing. And that brings us to Section 4, Board Exam Master Revision. Welcome to the final study hub. We've traveled through Goa, Coorg, and Assam, so let's put all this knowledge to the ultimate test with 3 rapid-fire, board-style sample questions. This is where we bridge the gap between just knowing the story and writing a flawless exam answer. Let's kick off with a typical extract-based prompt. Who are the Patters, and how did they herald their arrival in Goa? I want all of you Class 10 champions to pause for a second and formulate the answer in your heads right now. Remember to use that highly specific vocabulary we covered at the very beginning. Okay, got it. Here is your concise model answer. Paiders are traditional Goan bakers who announce their arrival with a musical jong-jong sound of a specially made bamboo staff. Notice how we didn't just casually say they made a noise. Hitting specific text details like jong-jong and bamboo staff is exactly what secures full marks from the evaluator. That is how you play the game. Moving on to a super high-yield 2 to 3 marker question. What are the 2 theories of descent for the people of Coorg? We talked about the visual evidence for one of them, but you need to be able to articulate both clearly to get the full score here. To nail this model answer, you have to clearly separate the 2 theories. First up, the Greek descent theory. This states that a part of Alexander's army moved south along the coast and just settled there when returning became impractical, eventually marrying amongst the locals. Second is the Arab descent theory. This one draws its support directly from their traditional attire, that long black coat with embroidered waistbelt known as the kufiya, which looks exactly like the Arab kufiya. If you structure your answer just like this, using distinct points, you are golden. Finally, we're wrapping up with a big picture, value-based question. How does Glimpses of India prove that diversity is the true heart and soul of the country? Just think about the journey we took today, from the Portuguese bakers in coastal Goa, over to the Greek and Arab martial traditions deep in the rainforests of Coorg, all the way to the ancient, mystical legends surrounding the tea estates of Assam. It's this incredible, beautiful tapestry. I'll leave you to chew on how you'd weave those 3 parts together for a killer-long answer question. I wish you the absolute best of luck translating all this knowledge into top board exam marks. Keep studying smart, and I will catch you in the next explainer.